Chosen one, can you feel it? The silence of heaven has lasted too long. For days, weeks, shade even years, it felt like God was quiet, as if your prayers were left unanswered, as if the promise had been postponed again and again. But today, August 29th, that silence cannot continue. Heaven has decided to break it. And when God speaks after a long silence, it is never with ordinary words. It is with signs, with manifestations, with miracles that no one can deny. Maybe you felt the heaviness of the waiting. Maybe you even whispered to yourself, "Did God forget me? Was I wrong all along?" But hear this now. This is the day when the answer begins to take form. This is the day when heaven confirms that the promise is not only alive, it is here. Look closely. Your body already senses it. The atmosphere is shifting. Your heart beats faster. Your spirit is alert. And deep inside you know, this day was written long before you ever arrived here. Chosen one, heaven is no longer silent about you. And from this moment on, nothing in your life will remain the same. Chosen one, do you know what it means to live through a day that was written before you were even born? Today is not just another date on the calendar. Today is the day when God decides to break the silence that seemed to echo endlessly in your life. For weeks, months, maybe even years, you asked yourself, has he forgotten me? Will the promises ever come true? Why can't I hear him anymore? The silence felt too heavy, as though your prayers bounced back unanswered, as though heaven had closed its doors. But the truth is, God's silence was never neglect. It was strategy. It was construction. It was preparation for a moment such as this. And now, on this August 29th, heaven can no longer stay silent. This is the day when the promises begin to show themselves, not in whispers, not in fragments, but in undeniable ways. The silence breaks, not with ordinary words, but with miracles. What once seemed distant and unreachable is already moving toward you, and it will become so real that no doubt will be able to stand against it. Maybe you've already felt something building inside you before this day arrived. A sudden shiver down your spine, a strange surge of emotion out of nowhere, pressure in your heart as if something invisible was preparing to be revealed. That was not your imagination. It was your spirit being prepared for the moment when God's voice would finally break through the unseen and echo into your story. For a long time, you've lived by faith alone, trusting without seeing, holding on without proof. But today, God is not only asking you to believe, He is choosing to show you. He will use your body, your circumstances, even unexpected moments to confirm, I was never absent. I was preparing the perfect time to speak so clearly that you will never doubt again. And when God breaks the silence, all of heaven moves. Doors that were sealed begin to open. Chains that bound you suddenly dissolve as if they never existed. Situations that looked frozen begin to flow with a sudden speed that leaves you stunned. Because when heaven speaks, nothing can resist. Chosen one, this day is not only about hearing God's voice with your ears, it's about being taken over by it. Your body will feel it. Your spirit will confirm it. Your heart will race because His voice is not only sound, it is power. And that power will become so tangible in your life that even those who doubted will have to admit the silence is over and the miracle has begun. But let me ask you, are you prepared to carry the weight of this answer? Are you ready to handle the intensity of what is about to manifest? Because when God ends his silence, there is no going back. It's not just a passing blessing. It is a permanent change in the course of your destiny. You asked for signs. You begged for confirmation. And today, heaven answers in ways you cannot deny. It will not only be in dreams or visions, it will be in your body, in your days, in your very steps. This is the day when God breaks the silence, and your life can never be described the same way again. So open your eyes, open your heart. What you're about to live is not coincidence, not chance. It is proof that God was always listening, even when he seemed quiet. And now, on this August 29th, he speaks loud enough to leave no doubt. You are chosen, and the miracle has begun. Chosen one, let's speak about the weight you have carried until now. Because before heaven breaks its silence, you had to endure a season that felt endless. A season where your prayers seemed to echo back unanswered. A season where you asked yourself again and again, does he still hear me? Does he still remember me? This silence was not easy. It pressed on your shoulders like a burden too heavy to bear. It made you doubt your own faith. It whispered to your heart that maybe nothing was ever going to change. But listen carefully. God's silence has never been punishment. It has always been purpose. The silence was not absence. It was construction. It was the soil being prepared in secret so that the roots of your faith could grow deeper. Because if the promise had arrived too soon, you might not have been ready to hold it. How many times did you pray for God to hurry? How many times did you beg for a quick sign? And still, he chose to remain silent. Not because he wanted to ignore you, but because he was shaping you, refining you, and preparing you to sustain what was coming. Chosen one, the silence of heaven is like the night before the sunrise. It feels long. It feels cold. It feels endless. But in that very darkness, the new day is already being born. It's in the unseen soil where the seed germinates. It's in the hidden places that the miracle begins to take form. And that is exactly what has been happening with you. While you were crying, while you felt forgotten, God was weaving the invisible threads of your story. Many mistake silence for abandonment. But the fact that you are still here is proof that he never abandoned you. The breath in your lungs, the strength that rose up in you when you thought you had none left, the hope that refused to die. These were all signs that he was with you, even in the quiet. He was simply working in a way you couldn't see yet. Have you noticed that it was during the silence that you matured the most? It was during the silence that your prayers became deeper, more raw, more real. It was during the silence that you discovered who truly stood beside you and who did not. It was during the silence that you learned your faith could not depend on emotions alone. The silence was your wilderness, but it was in that wilderness that your strength was forged. And now, heaven pulls you out of that wilderness to show you it was never in vain. The weight of waiting was never meant to crush you. It was meant to prepare you. It was in that silence that you were strengthened beyond what you thought possible. It was in that season that God removed what could not follow you into your new chapter. Friendships ended, doors closed, Paths were blocked. All of it was the silent hand of God aligning your steps. Chosen one, understand this truth. God's silence has a voice. It speaks without words. It molds without sound. And when He finally breaks that silence, it's because the work is complete and ready to be seen. Every tear you cried during the waiting was watering the seed of your promise. Every sleepless night was part of your awakening. Every no you received was really heaven saying, "Not yet, wait for better." So do not despise the silence. It was necessary. It stripped away what was false. It anchored your faith. It made sure that when the promise arrived, you would be able to carry it with wisdom and with strength. And now, as heaven speaks again, you are not the same person who first entered the silence. You are stronger. You are prepared. You are ready. And I must ask you, can you see that even the silence was a gift? Can you understand that the weight you carried was not punishment, but construction? Can you honor this season for what it truly was? The proof that God never gave up on you? The silence was the womb of the promise. And today, August 29th, what was forming in that secret place is finally being born before your eyes. Chosen one, when God decides to break His silence, He rarely begins with loud explosions or dramatic gestures. He begins with signs. Small signs that to human eyes may look ordinary, but in the spirit, they carry the weight of confirmation. Proof that the miracle has already begun to unfold. Maybe you've already noticed some of these signs without fully realizing it. A conversation that seemed casual but stirred your heart as if it were a direct answer from heaven. A dream so vivid that you woke up knowing it was more than just a dream. A sudden emotion that came out of nowhere and moved you to tears or to laughter. Or even physical changes in your body, goosebumps that rise without reason. A racing heart when you're still, a heavy sleep that feels more like a spiritual encounter than rest. These are not random experiences. They are the first drops of rain that announce a storm of blessing. God never releases something great without first sending small confirmations. It's like the whisper of the wind before the thunder shakes the sky, or the soft glow of dawn before the sun bursts over the horizon. These little signals are heaven's way of saying, "Pay attention, it has started." Have you felt the atmosphere around you shift suddenly? Like the air in the room grew heavier or lighter, like something invisible entered the space where you were standing? That's not your imagination, that's not anxiety. That is heaven's atmosphere brushing against your reality, making sure you know the silence has ended. Chosen one, even your circumstances begin to testify. Doors that have been sealed tight start to crack open. Opportunities you thought were gone return to your path. People who had left your life unexpectedly reappear at just the right moment. This is not coincidence. It is orchestration. Each detail is the handwriting of God rearranging your story, step by step. How many times have you asked for a sign? How many times did you cry out, "God, just show me something so I don't give up"? And now the signs are here. But the question is, will you recognize them, or will you brush them aside, saying they were nothing? Because in God's kingdom, there is no such thing as random. Every detail carries meaning. Don't be surprised if the signs come through your body as well. Tears flowing with no explanation, that's release. A sudden heat or chill moving across your skin, that's presence. A peace so deep, it makes your heartbeat slow and your breathing steady. That's God covering you. A shiver down your spine while praying or thinking of Him, that's His nearness. Heaven chooses to confirm, not only through visions and voices, but through flesh, so that you cannot deny what you're experiencing. And let me tell you, though these signs seem small, they carry the weight of eternity, because when you notice them and embrace them, your faith expands, your spirit lifts, and your heart positions itself to receive more. Heaven is testing your sensitivity, just asking you, do you recognize me in the details? Are you awake enough to see me moving before the miracle is complete? Chosen one, this is why you must be more alert than ever. The miracle will not drop from the sky fully formed. It reveals itself in stages, and each stage comes with signs that point to what's next. The silence has ended, and now the first notes of the promise are sounding in your life. So open your eyes, look at the details, value the subtle signs, because together they form the larger picture of your breakthrough. And before you know it, what began as a dream, a sudden emotion, a quiet shiver in your body, will materialize into undeniable reality. And even the doubters will have to say, God spoke, God moved, God fulfilled. Now I must ask you, will you recognize these early signs as sacred, or will you dismiss them as coincidence? Will you see that heaven speaks through the smallest details? Will you treasure the proof that the miracle is already breathing its way into your life? Chosen one, August 29th will forever be remembered as the day the silence broke, and the signs began to shout louder than the doubt. The miracle is no longer on its way. The miracle is already here. Chosen one, there is something profound you must understand. God does not only speak through words, dreams, or external signs. He also chooses to speak through your body. Yes, your own flesh can become living proof of what heaven has already decreed. And this day, August 29th, carries exactly that signature. The moment when the spiritual breaks through invisible walls and touches the physical, turning your body into a witness of the divine. Think back. Haven't you felt this before? Those sudden chills that run across your skin during prayer. The way your heart races without explanation. The tears that stream down your face, not from pain, but from a release so deep your mind can't make sense of it. A sudden wave of warmth in your chest, or even a cold breeze brushing your skin, though no wind was present. These aren't random bodily reactions. They are imprints of God's presence moving through you. Your body is not just a fragile container of your soul. It is a temple. And as a temple, it reacts when the glory of God fills it. That is why physical shifts happen when the Spirit comes close. The silence of heaven doesn't just break in your mind or heart, it breaks in your flesh. God chooses to leave evidence within you, so that even if your mind tries to doubt, your body will cry out, "It is real, it is God, it is happening now." How many times have you dismissed these sensations as nothing? How many times did you say, "I'm just tired, it's only nerves, it must be coincidence"? But no, chosen one, the Spirit was speaking. He was calling your attention through your very body, the temple He designed to carry His presence. And today, that reality will be undeniable. Because when heaven breaks silence after such a long time, He doesn't leave space for doubt. He uses your flesh as the evidence, so that even if your thoughts try to resist, your body will testify. Understand the depth of this. The body that you may have seen as weak, limited, or temporary becomes an altar. Every heartbeat that accelerates, every breath that deepens, every shiver, every tear, all of them become heaven's language written in you. Flesh becomes trumpet. Body becomes scripture. Have you noticed how in deep prayer, tears fall before words are even spoken? That is not weakness. It is alignment. Have you ever felt a peace so thick that your muscles relax and your heart slows down? That is not imagination. That is God filling the temple. Today, August 29th, these signs will not be subtle. They will come as undeniable confirmations that the silence is finished. You may feel a heaviness that forces you to rest, as if God Himself is laying His hand on you. You may sense electricity running through your arms or legs. You may feel sudden trembling, waves of heat, or waves of refreshing coolness. These are not symptoms of the natural. They are manifestations of the supernatural entering the natural. And I ask you, will you recognize it? Will you discern when heaven is speaking through your very flesh? Will you allow yourself to be the living proof instead of dismissing it as coincidence? Chosen one, mark this day. Heaven has decided not just to speak, but to stamp the evidence upon you. Your body will carry the confirmation. Your temple will be the proof that the promise is already here. Today, God will not let you leave this moment with only words. He will engrave it into your body, so that even in the future, when doubt tries to whisper, you will remember, I felt it. I lived it. Heaven touched me. I was chosen, and God spoke through me. This is the day when even your flesh becomes an altar. This is the day when heaven refuses to be silent. This is the day when your vai itself says louder than words. God has moved, and I am the proof. Chosen one, there is a mystery few understand. When heaven decides to break its silence and release a miracle, it is not enough for the signs to appear. It is not enough for your body to testify. Your heart must be ready to receive, without resistance, without hesitation, without fear, because God may open the floodgates. But if the heart is closed, distracted, or hardened, much of what has been released can be missed. Think for a moment. How many times have you prayed for something, and when the answer finally arrived, you almost didn't recognize it? How often were the signs right before you, but your heart was too heavy, too busy, too doubtful to see them for what they were? This is why today, more than ever, your heart must be prepared. Preparing the heart is not only about believing in theory, it is about letting go of resistance. It is about releasing the doubt that whispers, nothing is changing. It is about silencing the voices of fear that say, it's too late for you. It is about shutting down the comparisons that tempt you to look at others instead of seeing what God is doing with you. Chosen one. A prepared heart is a light heart. And how do you lighten the heart? By surrendering the weight you were never meant to carry. By pouring out before God the frustrations you have bottled up during the silence. By confessing the disappointments you've held, the anger you didn't want to admit, the moments you almost gave up. Because only a heart emptied of toxins can be filled with the glory of heaven. Maybe today you need to pause, close your eyes, and whisper out loud, Lord, I give you what I can't control. I surrender the doubt. I lay down the fear. I release the anxiety. I open my heart to what you have already released. These simple words can unlock what years of striving could not. They open space for heaven to flood in where heaviness once lived. Preparing the heart also means adjusting your expectation. Because if you expect little, you will notice little. But if you open yourself to the greatness of what God wants to pour out, then you align yourself with the fullness of His plan. How many times have you reduced your prayers just to protect yourself from disappointment? How many times did you ask for less than you truly desired, afraid that God would not deliver? Today is the day to break that pattern. God did not wait until this appointed time to give you crumbs. He did not keep you in silence so He could deliver something small. What is coming now is weighty, abundant, overflowing. And your heart must be wide open to hold it. And here is the secret. A prepared heart does not resist God's timing. It does not complain. Why so late? Instead, it declares, "Thank you because it has finally come." A heart ready to receive knows that heaven never delays. It always delivers at the perfect moment. So let me ask you, chosen one, are you truly ready to receive without controlling? Are you willing to drop the logic and embrace the miracle? Will you allow your heart to become the altar where heaven's promise lands? Because what is unfolding this August 29th will not be light. It will not be ordinary. It will not be something you can rationalize or explain away. It will be heavy with glory. And only a heart free of resistance can carry the weight of that glory without breaking. Prepare yourself. Let go. Make room. Because today, heaven does not only whisper, it invades. And only those with open hearts will live the fullness of what has already begun. Chosen one, there are days that cut history in two. Days that cannot be confused with any other. Days that stand as a dividing line, before and after. And this August 29th is one of those days. Until now, your life was marked by waiting. You lived holding on to promises you could not yet see. You carried questions in silence, wondering if God had forgotten you. You endured nights where tears became your only prayer. That was the before. The before was filled with silence, uncertainty, and faith that often felt fragile. But today, that silence breaks. And when heaven breaks silence, everything shifts. From this day forward, your story must be told in two chapters. Before August 29th, and after August 29th. The after begins with certainty. It begins with undeniable evidence that God has spoken. Your body will testify. Your spirit will confirm. Even the circumstances around you will begin to align. The atmosphere will no longer carry the weight of unanswered questions, but the clarity of divine movement. Chosen one, understand, the dividing line is not just a change of season. It is a transformation of identity. You will not look at yourself the same way after today. What was once a burden will become testimony. What was once pain will be revealed as process. What was once silence will now be remembered as the womb of your miracle. How many times did you beg heaven for a defining moment? How many times did you cry out, "God, give me a day I can look back on and say this was the day you changed everything"? This is that day. This is the line that separates all that came before from all that will come after. Can you sense it already? Can you feel how even the air around you seems different? This is not emotion. This is not imagination. This is prophetic atmosphere. Heaven pressing into your reality to announce the shift. And once it happens, you cannot go back. You will never again be able to say you were forgotten. You will never again be able to say God was silent. You will never again be able to say nothing changed, because today is the undeniable proof that you are seen, remembered, and chosen. Chosen one, I ask you now, are you willing to cross that line? Are you ready to let go of the before, the doubt, the pain, the long silence, and step fully into the after? Do you have the courage to embrace the permanent shift that begins today? Because today is not just another mark on the calendar. Today is a portal, a crossing over, a rewriting of your story. From this day forward, there will always be a clear division. The person you were before August 29th and the person you became after heaven spoke. This is the dividing line. This is the moment history bends in your favor. This is the day you will look back on and say, here everything changed. Here the silence ended. Here the miracle began. Chosen one, this is the deepest point of the revelation. Everything you have endured, the silence, the waiting, the tears, the hidden struggle, the subtle signs, was leading you here. And today, August 29th, the message is undeniable. Heaven is no longer silent about you. For so long, you became used to living in what felt like a closed room, knocking on a door that never opened. You prayed, you cried out, and all you heard was silence. That silence was heavy enough to make you question if you were still called. You wondered, am I still seen? Am I still remembered? But now, heaven answers with power. You were never forgotten. You were always chosen. And now is the moment when God cannot remain quiet any longer. This day will not be remembered as an ordinary date. It will be remembered as the day God raised his voice over your life, not only with words, but with undeniable manifestations. The signs you already began to notice, the shifts in your body, the atmosphere around you changing. These are not coincidences. They are confirmation that the silence is over. Heaven is no longer silent because the promise has matured. The seed has broken through the soil. The prayers have reached their appointed time. What was once invisible now begins to be seen, and nothing can stop the fulfillment. Maybe part of you still trembles. Maybe you still think, what if nothing changes? What if I get disappointed again? But listen carefully. When God chooses to break his silence, he doesn't do it halfway. He doesn't whisper uncertainty. He declares certainty. He doesn't suggest possibility. He confirms reality. And today, heaven declares over you, you are mine. You are chosen. You are the living seal of my promise. Chosen one, don't treat this day as ordinary. Don't wake up tomorrow and pretend nothing happened, because August 29th will be stamped into you, in your memory, in your body, in your spirit. There will be signs you cannot deny. There will be moments you cannot forget. There will be a certainty inside you that no future storm will be able to erase. And I must ask you, are you ready to accept that the silence has ended? Will you live from this day on, not as one waiting for a promise, but as one carrying the evidence of its fulfillment? Will you declare boldly that today heaven spoke and heaven moved? Because this is that day, the day when God says, enough of silence. Now is the time of manifestation. The day that stands as a dividing line, before and after. The day when your story is rewritten by the voice of heaven. Chosen one, the silence has ended, and what begins now cannot be interrupted. You are the living proof that God speaks. God fulfills, God remembers, and God chooses. And each time doubt tries to rise again, you will look back and say, I was there, I felt it, I was marked. Heaven was no longer silent about me. This is the day you stop questioning. This is the day you stop wondering if He hears you. This is the day you carry the seal of His voice in your very being. August 29th is not just a date, it is a testimony. Heaven has spoken. And from this day forward, nothing in your life will ever be the same.